Okay, hello. What a great way to start. Okay, I am back. I am ready to go. I got a cat in my lap and I got a root beer in my hand. And that's really all I asked for in life. You know what I'm saying? The only thing better would be a real beer. Let's see. Let's see. So, personal news. Yesterday, I just raided after I streamed. We got all the way, like in World of Warcraft, we got all the way to the two dragons, E and V or whatever on normal. We'll probably we might not finish normal this week, but we usually finish normal within like the second week or whatever. So I'm kind of expecting that to happen, and then we'll go into heroic next week. But I did okay. I'm not as geared up as I usually am for it. I've been this whole streaming thing is a new hobby for me, so it takes up more of my time than I would normally spend towards gaming. So so I don't know, but I do this for you, the viewer. Um, let's see. So today I did not work out. I was not motivated, and I just felt a little too busy with work stuff, so I didn't really just wasn't in the mood. So hopefully tomorrow we'll get back into it, and then here I am ready to stream. That's about it. So I guess maybe that's enough lollygagging. Uh, maybe we should get into the actual news of the day. Um, so I wanted to start with this press conference. You know, I love me a good press conference. Um, I watched the first like few minutes of it. It's real boring where they're just talking back and forth. This is I guess somebody from Ireland. I don't know if he's like you know, the president or the king or whatever of Ireland or just some diplomatic representative, but they were just kind of going back and forth for a little bit, and that wasn't that interesting. But I wanted to get to this part, which is my favorite part of any press conference, the rabble rousers. The When all of the press yells questions at our big beautiful boy and he gets to call on them like school children and answer to the best of his ability the incredibly smart questions that they ask. Sometimes they ask good ones, sometimes they ask bad ones, but um, so I figured, let's just jump right into it. Our big beautiful boy, he's looking good. He's got the green Irish tie on. I haven't seen him with that. I think it complements him very well. The green and orange is like a classic color combination. Any artist, any palette person will tell you that, okay? And then all of it just clashes so hard with all the gold, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, let's go ahead and see how our president answers some of these questions from the press while he frame mogs this dude from Ireland.
Or of Irish descent. We have, so you have quite a few, but we have a lot.
You have a lot more than we have.
It's pretty amazing. By a lot.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much. It's a great honor. And any questions?
What is Ireland in September? And you stay at Dubai.
Well, I'm having, it's a great thing, my son. And
Okay, this is not right. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I always forget to turn the speed back down. I cannot. I'm gonna just start over here because I listen to stuff on YouTube at like 1.5 times speed. I cannot. I really I need to process stuff at like a faster speed than how they usually talk. That includes even when I go back and watch my own content. I can't stand how slow I talk sometimes. But okay, let's start this again. This is Trump at this press conference with this Irish dude. We'll
have
see what he
more,
has to say.
I think people here by far than you have in Ireland that are
Absolutely,
of Irish
yeah.
descent. We have, so you have quite a few, but we have a lot.
You have a lot more than we have.
It's pretty amazing by a lot.
Absolutely, yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much. It's a great honor. And
Thank you.
any questions?
What is Ireland in September? And will you stay at Dubai?
Well, I'm having, it's a great thing, my son and my family. We have a great golf complex in Ireland, one of the best in the world, called Doonbeg. It's in Doonbeg. and it's been amazing. And
I don't
Rory
care about this
McIlroy.
question. Sorry.
So very,
Mr. President, Mr. President,
it's a very hard question.
Mr. President,
What progress have you made, Mr. President, in getting America's allies to assist the U.S. in escorting those oil tankers through the Strait
Okay,
of
good
Hormuz?
question.
Well, we don't need too much help, and we don't need any help, actually. In fact, we just put
Yeah.
out a notice. I was watching over the last couple of weeks, and all of our NATO allies were very much in favor of what we did. They thought it was very important. We were just discussing it, actually. Very important that we take out the nuclear threat from Iran, and we've done that very strongly, very powerfully. We've wiped out their navy, wiped out their military in every aspect. Their air force is now decimated.
I'm sure that they were. They're little sycophants to America. So anything that we do, they have to like come on board with or whatever. Like if we decided overnight to just like, I don't know, like nuke Pakistan or something, I'm sure that they would all just come on board immediately too. Like,
They have no air force, no navy. They have no radar. Their radar is entirely gone. Their anti-aircraft machinery is gone. Everything is gone. Their leaders are gone. I guess
everything's gone.
their top person was, they say, a lot of people say their actual top was killed yesterday,
And
along with
gay, right? Am I right, guys? Did anyone see that story where they talked about how the leader, Khomeini or whatever, the new Ayatollah, that someone said that they thought he was gay or something, or that he might be gay, and then like Trump and all of these little little goons, they all laughed like school children. That was a funny story.
somebody else who was responsible for the killing, the man that was responsible for the killing of 32,000 people over the last 2 weeks. He was in
Yeah.
charge of the killing of protesters. It's an evil group. I mean, they've killed much more than 32,000 people. And the man who was responsible for that was also killed yesterday. And
Killing
all of the
everybody.
NATO allies agreed with us, but they don't want to, despite the fact that we help them so much, we have thousands
So
of
petty.
soldiers in different countries all over the world, and they don't want to help us, which is amazing. I mean, amazing. And
It's not that amazing. It's very obvious why they don't want to do it. It's because they don't want to get. It's the same reason we don't want to do it. We don't want to escort ships through the Strait of Hormuz because we're like our military people. There's reporting that they told Trump we're not going to do it because Iran is going to fuck our shit up. And so I'm sure that all of the people in France and the UK and all of these NATO countries, they all got the exact same reporting from their military leadership saying no, they're going to bomb the shit out of us. Like we're going to lose like, billion-dollar ships and stuff. So like, and also like lots of lives. We're not going to do it. So it's the same exact reason. He's just trying to force like other countries into the like to sacrifice their resources and sacrifice their service members or whatever so that we don't have to. So yeah.
didn't do a full court press because I think if I did, they probably would be. But we don't need help. We've that war has been long prosecuted as far as I'm concerned, almost from day one. We knocked out many of these things. We knocked out the Navy essentially in a couple of days. But I was surprised to see that NATO, while they agree that it was a very important thing to do, they agree fully. Nobody said, "Oh, you shouldn't do it." They would have had a nuclear weapon within 1 month of when we had the
Within
B-2
1
bombers
month?
bomb the nuclear.
Oh my gosh, but I thought we obliterated it 12 months ago in the 12-day war. And then also you've been saying like our foreign policy has been saying they're a week away from a bomb for like 30 years now. So I mean, I guess this time for realsies, they were actually going to have a bomb in a month, I'm sure.
Potential. I call it the nuclear dust. I think NATO's making a very foolish mistake, and I've long said that I wonder whether or not NATO would ever be there for us. So this was a
Clearly
great
not.
test because we don't need them, but they should have been there. The other thing
That's
is
true. That's true. We don't need them. Honestly, like Americans military might, if America cannot achieve something, then all of the NATO allies coming to help also cannot achieve that thing. America's military is like bigger than all of our NATO allies combined. Like it's like, yeah, it's just there's nothing that we can't do that they can't do. What's really happening is we're reaching the limits of what America can accomplish militarily now. And it's no surprise to me as someone who has like looked throughout history and stuff and like analyzed how how empires overextend themselves all the time, like, and what happens when you start overreaching and trying to, force grip your way to like stay in power or stay hegemonic or whatever. None of this is surprising to me, but it was inevitable that at some point we were going to reach the limits of our military like capabilities. And considering how poorly we did against the Houthis, a couple years ago or whatever, how we had to just like tuck our tail and run from that, like I'm not very surprised that we are also not able to secure the Strait of Hormuz or whatever.
And I think, very important, we didn't have to be there for Ukraine. Biden chose to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on Ukraine.
Why are we still there then?
And I guess the head of Germany just made a statement that, well, they weren't involved and they have nothing to do with the war. But at the same time, they think we did a great thing by knocking them out. Nobody wants to have.
Yeah, they're just saying the same shit Democrats say. Like they're so happy that it happened, but you didn't follow the rules or whatever. Like that's how the Democrats phrase it. The Europeans are just saying, "Oh, we're so glad you did it, but we don't want anything to do with it." Like I don't know. It's it all is hypocritical because all of those NATO countries did want this to happen, and like, but they are really under no. I mean, technically under NATO, I guess. Well, no, I don't know if NATO determines the difference between offensive or defensive wars. I was going to say NATO countries would be required to assist us under that agreement, but that it might only be in defensive wars if I remember. But I'd have to look up the charter.
Nobody wants to have Iran or anybody, but nobody wants to have Iran with a nuclear because these people are crazy. They're absolutely crazy and they're vicious,
psychos.
Violent. I mean, they kill. Think of it. They killed, now I hear it's about 41,000 people. They put out a notice 2 days ago.
Did it just go up again? Did the number just go up right now? Did the ticker that they have, like a Dow ticker or whatever, of how many protesters the Iranians killed, did it just go from like 32,000 to 41,000 in the course of this like 5-minute conversation? He must have like an earpiece in his other ear that is feeding him the intel of how many protesters died.
Anybody that protests will be immediately shot and killed. That's pretty tough stuff. So everyone agrees with us, but they don't want to help. And we as the United States have to remember that because we think it's pretty shocking.
President Macron has just said in the last hour that he will never join a task force in the Strait of Hormuz until hostilities finish. Yet yesterday you said...
Who said that?
Never.
President Macron of France. What's your reaction to that, sir?
Well, he'll be out of office very soon, so we'll have to see. I don't know.
President Trump, on Doonbeg, you're building an extension to it at the moment, but there's been an objection put in, and it's being held back at the moment due to small snails. What are you disappointed about that?
What?
Planning Commission is
I have not heard that. No.
Planning Commission.
I mean, the course was built and it's been operated very successfully.
I don't care about golf, dude.
Objecting him in an environmental group is objecting to small snails at Doonbeg. I don't know. It doesn't sound like the biggest problem I've ever had.
How close the U.S. to announce a coalition of willing to secure the Strait of Hormuz? Which countries are joining?
Coalition of the
Well,
willing.
we've had great support from the Middle East. Qatar has been great. UAE has been absolutely, they've been great. Saudi Arabia has been terrific.
They've been great at like sinking all those, like taking all those missiles, man. They're like, I don't know, they're like a catcher's glove. Like they can just take a pounding and like and they're still allied with us. Like it's amazing. And we're so glad we allied with them.
Bahrain has been very good. The Middle Eastern countries have been very strong in their support. And of course, Israel has been our partner.
Our best
Israel's,
ally.
Been
The one
very,
ally.
very strong along with us. It's been a very strong collaboration. I was against Iran long before I even thought about Israel being against Iran. If you look back, Many years ago, I talked about Iran was a big threat to this country, to this world of ours, and turned out to be I was right. In fact, I said you have to attack Karg Island. You have to attack them years ago when they were acting up. They've been acting up for 37, 47, I guess now 48 years. For 48 years, they've been bad players, vicious players. And you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. If they got a nuclear weapon, I would say they would have used it within 24 hours after having it. And they would have had it if we didn't bomb them out from that great raid with the B-2 bombers 8 months ago or so. You would have had a nuclear war in the Middle East and maybe beyond. I think it would have hit Europe. Maybe not Ireland, but it would have hit Europe. I think you would have been a
maybe
nice
not
piece
Ireland.
of it. It all gets you. It's big enough that you would have been affected. They would have hit Europe eventually.
Mr. President,
See, I just, yeah, I mean, I obviously fundamentally disagree. I do not think that they were, like, they had a fatwa on developing nuclear arms. I don't think they had any desire to attain nuclear arms. I think at this point it's somewhat inevitable that they will. And honestly, I can't wait for it to happen because the only way we will ever have peace in the Middle East is if Iran gets a nuke or if like other, anti-Israel countries in the region get a nuke. Because that's the only way to stop them and America from fucking with you all the time and destabilizing the region all the time. So, nuclear umbrella theory, like I just think it's been proven over time to be like completely correct. So
Mr. President, your director of national counterterrorism, Joe Kent, he just resigned today. He said he can't support your conflict with Iran. What's your reaction to that? And did you talk
Well, I read his statement. I always thought he was a nice guy, but I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security.
wasn't he like on the counterterrorism like intelligence org or something? That's kind of a funny place to put him if you thought he was weak on.
I didn't know him well, but I thought he seemed like a pretty nice guy. But when I read his statement, I realized that it's a good thing that he's out because he said that Iran was not a threat. Iran was a threat. Every country realized what a threat Iran was. The question is whether or not they wanted to do something about it. And many people, many of the greatest military scholars are saying for years that presidents should have taken out Iran because they wanted a nuclear weapon. They were,
That's true.
If we didn't do the attack, or if I'll go.
Propagandists, neocons, neoliberal, like think tank, the general like groupthink consensus of our foreign policy establishment definitely wanted to take out Iran for years. So he is correct on
A
that.
step further. If I didn't,
And he is the only person who actually went through with it. Now, I don't necessarily know. I don't really know what those think tanks are thinking at this point. They tend to really underestimate, like they really tend to overestimate America's like capabilities and underestimate like other places. Like I think that because in general, all of those like policy papers and stuff, they are beneficial to like our global capitalists like pedo billionaires or whatever. And that's why they want to do these things. But I do think we're kind of seeing maybe a more negative impact from this than they were potentially expecting because of how much of a hit, like how much of a hit America's force projection is taking here with how weak we look and not being able to secure the strait and stuff. So, yeah, I wonder what they're thinking right about now, to be honest.
terminate the Iran nuclear deal given to us, one of the worst deals ever made by Barack Hussein Obama. Remember when they sent Boeing 757s over there loaded with cash? Hundreds of millions of dollars. You would have been very happy. This was a wonderful. They sent hundreds of millions. People forget that. Does anybody remember? Right? You remember. Hundreds of millions of dollars in a Boeing 757. I think
this sounds like some made-up quackery. I'm sure that the like sanction relief equated to hundreds of billions of dollars or whatever, but I don't really expect that Obama sent billions of dollars of cash in a plane to Iran. Like that seems kind of crazy to me.
there are two of them loaded. They took the seats out and they put cash. And it was so much that there wasn't a bank in Virginia, Maryland, or D.C. that had any money left. They stripped them of all their money, put it into place, sent it to Iran, almost as ransom. That's not going to happen with Trump. And nobody ever did anything about it. Nobody ever said anything about it. Can you imagine if I did that? So they've been a threat for a long time. But they've really been a threat. If I didn't terminate Obama's horrible deal that he made, the Iran nuclear deal, you would have had a nuclear war 4 years ago.
No.
You would have had,
No. Under the deal, every single person, every single scientist that went in there under the deal, because there was like, you had to have the International Energy Agency or whatever go in and monitor the sites and check on them and all that sort of stuff. The entire time they said that, yeah, they are not building towards a nuclear bomb. In fact, like Iran passed every inspection the entire time that the deal was there. And then he tore up the deal, which then led to, they said, okay, then we're going to develop past whatever percentage we were before up to like 60%. And so they started doing that. And I personally believe they were doing that just for leverage and discussions or whatever. But yeah, that's ridiculous. The deal was the one thing, was throwing away the deal is what has essentially led to this entire conflagration that's happening right now. I mean, it's part of it.
The Holocaust, and you would have had it again if we didn't bomb the site. So when somebody is working with us that says they didn't think Iran was a threat, we don't want those people because, and there are some people, I guess I would say that, but they're not smart people or they're not savvy people.
Hey.
Iran was a tremendous threat. And virtually every NATO nation, and this is the thing, if they told me it wasn't a threat, and therefore they don't want to help, but when they say it was a threat, and it was a major threat.
This is why it's terrible messaging from all of these NATO countries, and it's terrible messaging similarly from the Democratic Party to say, we hate the Iranians, and we hate their government, and yeah, they were going to create a bomb, and yeah, they were going to bomb Israel, and then yeah, they were going to bomb us, but we really don't like that you did this, though. Like, why are you doing this? And it's like, that's such a dumb, stupid position to put yourself in that will never work for the average person. No average person, that the average American or whatever is just going to hear well, if you just care about the process or whatever, then who gives a shit? He did it, right? He did what you wanted. Shut the fuck up. That's what the average American's going to think. So that's why they shouldn't twist themselves into knots and just be, they of course they would have to actually agree with me that they weren't a threat and there was no reason to do this whatsoever if they wanted to, get the electoral headwinds that could come for being against the war that way, but they're just unwilling to do that.
Every one of them, I think every one of them. I don't know if one that said they're not a threat, but when they say it was a threat, but we're not going to help, I think they're very foolish. It's interesting. It's interesting because I could say this, that what's happening in Ukraine, we're probably in there for $400 billion. We don't spend any money anymore. They buy it from us and they pay full price. But Biden gave them between $350 and $400 billion of equipment and cash. Someday they'll have to find out about the cash. And you could say that wasn't a threat. We're helping them. So we helped them, and they didn't help us. And I think that's a very bad thing.
Well, Russia actually invaded. Russia did invade. So there's a little bit of a difference there. If Iran invaded, I don't know, Saudi Arabia or something, then you would have a lot more leeway to say, oh yeah, we should we should fund their defense or something. Or Israel or whatever. If Iran invaded another country and started doing that, they weren't going to do that. They were not a threat fundamentally. They were not going to do anything. The only threat they have is not being sovereign and not being a vassal of the United States. That's the one threat that they see. And that's not a threat. That's just sovereignty. Every country should have that.
Thing for NATO.
Are there any repercussions for NATO, and are you still going to China?
Break it up.
Well, on China, it's a little different story. We're resetting the meeting, and it looks like it'll take place in about 5 weeks. We're working with China. They were fine with it. We're going to say, I look forward to seeing President Xi. He looks forward to seeing me, I think. But I do look forward to seeing him. We have a good relationship with China. China actually has become economically for us very good, as you know. It's much different than it was in the past. And we have a very good working relationship with China. So we're making it in about 5 or 6 weeks.
I wanted to hear him talk about NATO. Like I wanted to kick NATO to the curb.
Repercussions of NATO for not supporting you on this? Any repercussions?
Well, no, I just think that it's not good for a partnership when they say what you're doing is a great thing, but we're not going to help. You know, they say what you did is a great thing, but we're not going to help.
Yeah, this is where I don't trust like any of the few good things that Donald Trump ever comes up with. I never trust are actually going to make it to the finish line. Like getting out of NATO or something. Like that's something that I agree with. I want us to do. But because like it's an actual good thing that like would happen, like the foreign policy establishment is not going to let it happen. In the same way, like when he occasionally says something like, "Oh, I want to ban institutional investors in order to bring down the price of housing," and then that immediately like never happens because like basically the capitalist class comes up to him and says, "You're not going to fucking do that," and then he puts his tail between his legs and walks away and says, "Oh, okay, I guess I won't do that." Like it's not going to happen, even if I wish it would. Like getting out of NATO, or like for instance, like getting rid of the filibuster is another example. I don't think it's going to happen, even though that's a good idea that he has.
In Iran, because the Iranian regime has told Sky News, if you put boots on the ground in Iran, it will be another Vietnam. Are you afraid of that?
Definitely.
No, I'm not afraid of. I'm really not afraid of anything.
Based answer. Okay, you earned my trust back with that one, Donald Trump. That was a funny answer.
Are you rethinking the United States' relationship with NATO possibly getting out?
Dude, that's the same question.
I'm disappointed in NATO that we spend trillions of dollars on NATO. Think of it, trillions over the years.
Okay, well, I wanted to hear some of what he had to say about NATO and Iran and stuff. I think we got maybe enough there. I was hoping he would go a little bit harder on NATO, but it doesn't look like he is. He's being very wishy-washy about it. That face that he's making right there, that's about how I'm feeling about this press conference. But yeah, okay, let's go ahead and move on then. There's been some more news, I think, related to Iran. I'm going to watch a couple videos related to oil, I think. So I know that here, I'll pull this up. Okay, I know that Iran has been hit. Some of their like natural gas fields or something were hit today, I think by Israel, if I remember correctly. That ain't good. I think that we're going to see a very big conflagration going forward where Iran is now going to respond probably by hitting, the gas fields across the Gulf states and stuff. But and maybe they already have. I haven't been keeping up to date with like hour by hour news, but yeah, let's see what the people at BBC have to say. This is Iran says its facilities on the world's largest natural gas field attacked by the Big Beautiful Channel. Let's go.
Welcome to the program. We're going to focus in the next few minutes on a story that's been breaking, and that is the attack on the South Pars gas field in Iran. This news coming to us from a news agency linked to the Revolutionary Guard Corps in Iran. It's reported the fire teams were dispatched to contain that blaze. South Pars is a portion of the world's largest natural gas field. It's shared by Iran and Qatar. The Qatari Foreign Ministry condemned the attack as dangerous and irresponsible. What affects one side of the field does have the potential to affect another. It's one big basin, and the two countries do liaise on how they manage it. And in response, Iran's issued evacuation orders.
$108, that ain't good. I'm assuming it'll keep going up with this after this strike.
Orders for 5 energy facilities in the Gulf, in Saudi Arabia, the UAE and in Qatar. And as a result, there you've just seen on your screens, oil prices suddenly climbing again, topping $108 a barrel in early trading. That's up 5% on yesterday's prices. I've just been watching, in fact, as the indices turned red. The benchmark for UK gas price also rising by nearly 6%. Let's bring in our North America business correspondent, Samira Hussain. And the reason for that, not least the retaliation that Iran is promising, Samira, is because this gas field, it is one. And if there's a fire at one side, as I say,
it's really giving me James Gordon kind of vibes right now.
potentially has an impact on the other side of the gas field.
Right. So the enormity of this kind of an attack, because it has such a cascading impact on a large swath of Iran's oil and gas reserves, it really could have quite a huge impact in terms of how much oil is getting out of Iran. Now, you couple that with already these statements by the international maritime organizations that is saying it is just far too dangerous to have any kind of military escort for these ships through the Strait of Hormuz. You're seeing an intense amount of pressure on oil prices, which is why you're seeing it go up to more than $108 a barrel. And depending on whether we see any kind of retaliation from Iran, we can probably see those prices going up even higher.
Oh, we definitely will. Iran will likely hit. I don't know where exactly. I would guess like right across at the UAE or something. Maybe Saudi Arabia. I don't know for sure if they would go for the Saudi Arabia fields right off the bat, but yeah, we're gonna definitely get up to, I'd say at least 125, 150, probably pretty soon here, which I think correlates to like $5 to $6 on average of gas, for like at the pump or whatever for Americans. So
yeah, Germany's Friedrich Merz has been speaking in the last hour, Samira, saying that it's to everyone's detriment, this war, and that is reflected by this strike, because Iranian gas, which has been flowing to Iraq, has suddenly been suspended. So Iraq now suffering from presumably a gas shortage as a result of this. Everybody is affected in the energy markets by what is going on in that Gulf region.
Iraq's been going crazy mode, dude. The Iraqi militias that are aligned with Iran are like, they're going insane over there. This will probably destabilize that even further, if I had to guess. It'll probably empower the militias even further, if I had to guess as well. But yeah, I've been hearing stories of like them I think it's likely that they are the ones who have been taking out these refueling planes or whatever that have been flying over their airspace, is kind of the guess that I'm making, even though America will never tell us what the actual cause of these refueling planes crashing are, but
region.
Absolutely. And if you look at the impact, especially when you're looking at the Asia-European sort of trajectory in terms of getting things out of that Strait of Hormuz, you're seeing quite an intense amount of pressure. Now, we know that some Iranian oil is getting out to other countries, that the other countries have made individual agreements with Iran for their ships. So, for example, India has been able to get some stuff out of the Strait of Hormuz, but it's really an ad hoc. And so it might be alleviating a little bit of pressure for some countries. It's not the kind of blanket movement of goods that we saw before this.
The EU sure as fuck isn't getting any of that oil, if I had to guess. Now, maybe I don't know. Like the UK is providing like intelligence and stuff, as far as I know. Like I think the UK for sure is giving material support to the war. France, I'm not so sure. I think France has been like trying to get a backdoor channel to get them to allow Iran to ship oil to them, but they might consider the entire EU bloc to be allied with America and not allow them to get oil. It would also probably be good from a strategic perspective, because Europe will probably have to cry uncle like a lot, like even sooner than America, because of how much of an energy crisis they're already in. So they're probably not going to allow them at all, if I had to guess.
War. And of course, the concern is that these energy prices, if they continue to climb like this, it could push the entire world into a recession. A global recession is very much possible.
Yeah, a lot of pressure coming from Washington, particularly on those NATO countries. I wonder if you could respond to this, Samira. We've just had this from Johnny Beale.
A lot of pressure and a lot of bitching, if you ask me.
It says John Healey, the defence secretary here, has had important discussions today with defence ministers from France, Germany, Italy and Poland on the Strait of Hormuz. He said that they'd discussed working with allies to reinforce regional security and protect British interests. But he's not giving any response to whether the allies would send shipping to the Gulf. And according to President Macron, that's only going to happen when tensions are eased in that area. He's not going to send ships to the Gulf if there's still a hot war in place.
Well, absolutely. And I think that we've already heard from many of European countries saying exactly that they're not going to be going in to protect any vessels going through the Gulf region because it's frankly too dangerous. And we're seeing that international organizations are also saying that it's just frankly...
It would be too... You would get destroyed. Like, your ships would be at the bottom of the ocean if you did that. Like, I just don't think it's going to happen. Also, keep in mind that this isn't like Iran isn't planning on this being a short-term conflict. Like, their estimates are to keep it going for at least another 5 to 6 months, is what I've heard from their sources, what they're trying to put out in the media. Now, of course, they will, say that they can go on forever or whatever if necessary. So, like, you can take it all with a grain of salt. But, like, I would expect this conflict is going to keep going for, I would say, at least another 2 to 3 months. Like, people should be prepared for that, and for the gas prices to keep climbing, like, during that entire process.
Too dangerous. So what those discussions are is, it's interesting to know that they're having these discussions regionally amongst allies, but really the conversations need to be had with Iran in this case. I mean, there is a case to be made, as we've seen with other countries like India, who have made individual agreements with Iran to say, hey, look, don't target this particular ship. It's not going anywhere else.
So it's a lot easier for people who aren't vassalized by America. And to some extent, India kinda, they're not vassalized, but they are very, I think, more subservient to us than, like, say, China or something. But these European countries, they have to, like, couch everything they say, everything they do with the American, like, with Trump in mind, essentially. And so they can't, unfortunately, just say, hey, Iran, like, can we just let our ships through? Because if they did that, then it would show, like, that you're going in some way against America, and then Donald would probably like, hit you with tariffs or whatever the fuck he would do. Like, that's his favorite thing, so I would assume it would be that. So yeah, and this is, the EU is just, they're just little bitches. Like, and so they really put themselves in this situation. I don't really see any easy way out for them, except for as an entire bloc. If they as an entire bloc moved away from the United States and towards China, then that would probably be the only thing that they could do to like really get out of this, like, this, like, slowly tightening noose that we've hung around their neck or whatever. Okay, let's see this other one.
Meanwhile,
from France 24. This one, when did it come out? This was 2 hours ago, it says. So this should be pretty up to date. So I want to see if there's any sort of response that happened yet from Iran. So hopefully, if there is, I would assume 2 hours ago, like, this would hopefully have it. So this is France 24 News. This video is called "Both Sides in Iran War Ratchet Up Attacks on Energy Facilities as Oil Prices Surge" by France 24.
While Gulf countries continue to be rattled by attacks, Saudi Arabia says its air defences have been countering ballistic missiles with loud explosions heard echoing over the capital Riyadh. Air defences successfully intercepted missiles over Dubai, according to authorities there. The UAE says it has had to deal with more than 2,000 missiles and drones since the start of the war. Well, let's speak more on this and bring in France.
Hey, 2,000 down, only 100,000 to go, am I right?
Correspondent Huda Abdel Hamid, who joins us from Doha. Good to see you, Huda. Just talk us through how seriously Gulf countries are taking Iranian threats right now.
Very seriously. Well, actually, while I was waiting to talk to you now, we received the alerts on our phones that the threat level was high, and then about 10 minutes later, it came back to normal. But throughout the evening, we've been hearing jet fighters in the sky, helicopters also. Someone in Dubai told me that it was exactly the same over there, and this comes on the back of the threats that Iran has made following the bombing of the Asulaye oil storage facility on the South Pars Island. Now, Iran said...
So I guess they attacked only the oil storage facility, maybe not the production plants or whatever. So, but that's good info.
Immediately after...
Or Israel attacked that is what I mean. Sorry, in Iran.
That it will retaliate, that some targets have become legitimate across the GCC, and it has named actually several gas and oil facilities. Two here in Qatar, Ras Laffan, which is the largest LNG facility in the world, and then El Meserd, which is a petrochemical complex linked to Chevron, a U.S. company. And then it also named El Hosn gas facility in the UAE, and Al Jubair complex in Saudi Arabia that is linked to Exxon Mobil. Since then, the threat has become extremely serious, and the authorities have been telling people to stay in and stay away of windows.
Sorry, was that a KFC? Hell yeah, brother. Finger looking good, ain't it?
The authorities have been telling people to stay in and stay away of windows and take shelter, taking very seriously this threat.
Well, stay with us, Huda, because the ongoing conflict is, of course, the top of the agenda for an emergency meeting between foreign ministers from Arab and Islamic countries taking place in Riyadh today. The Saudi Foreign Ministry says the talks will include discussions on means to support regional security and stability. Well, since the start of the war, Gulf Arab states have been repeatedly targeted, and they've come under fire from Iran.
Hey, well, there's only one country you gotta aim those talks at, because there's one country that is trying to make sure this conflict goes on as long as possible, and its name is Israel. So unless you're talking about a way to subdue Israel either through military or economic pressure, this shit's going to keep on going.
Causing chaos. So how does this impact the foreign ministers meeting that's taking place in Riyadh today?
I think this latest development really brings even more of a sense of emergency and a sense of seriousness on that meeting. You know, immediately after the aftermath of the U.S. attack on the installation in Iran, a spokesman for the foreign ministry here in Qatar issued a statement of condemnation, saying that that attacking energy infrastructure is a serious threat to the global energy security. Now, they are going into that meeting, obviously, on week 3 since the war started. These countries have been under constant barrage of ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones from Iran. There's a sense of anger. Some leaders have talked about betrayal, and there's also a sense of insecurity. Some of these countries have spent billions building, U.S. bases and hosting U.S. bases on the land, hoping that will provide enough security. That didn't turn out to be the reality. When
I keep saying, is your name Israel? Then we don't give a shit. Sorry.
when as we have seen over the past few weeks. So I think that
we'll really see this dynamic play out when we start running low on missile interceptors, because when we start getting like critically low, we're just going to start sending all of them to Israel, and every other country is going to be SOL. So like I'm curious to see what happens then.
They will come out with some statement, but behind closed doors, they will be talking about two things: how to protect themselves now in the immediate days and weeks to come, and then what happens after the war, how to reassess all their bilateral relations, how to reassess the presence of U.S. assets on their land. Was it really worth it investing all that money?
After the war, I am very curious what happens, because there's a couple things that I think are somewhat irrevocable. Number one is the populace at large will 100% think that there's no reason to have American bases on their soil, because as a place that like your like crypto sex trafficking like weird friend from high school that you knew or whatever, they to like go and like I don't know, party all night and like do casual sex crimes with no consequence or whatever. Like I think that the reputation of it being like a place for capital and a place for billionaires to like just go and hang out and treat their like slave labor force in whatever way they see fit. I don't know if they'll be able to maintain that facade going forward. I will say like America will always like support and prop up Israel 100%. And they have like part of this whole like these Gulf state projects was to essentially America to kind of like prop them up as well, but they're never going to be propped up as much as Israel. So it kind of depends how much more money and effort America wants to put into propping these places up as these like havens of billionaires and havens of capital. And I don't think that I think America at the end of this will likely be stretched a little too thin trying to maintain Israel as a project to be able to like partially maintain all of these Gulf states as a project as well.
Then being so, unprotected, and they would also rethink their relations with Iran. So I think there's several things they would talk about, but what we will hear about when this meeting is over is a statement condemning the attack, saying that Iran is not just attacking U.S. facilities, but is also attacking civilian infrastructures in the GCC countries, and calling on some sort of way to some sort of calm to pave the way for a diplomatic track to start. That is not there yet. I don't think Iran will want to back down. The U.S. and Israel don't seem to want to back down at the moment. But I think they will also, and I should have mentioned that earlier, discuss whether that policy of restraint that they have been following since day one of this war is working or not. Should they join the
What are they going to do, though? Like, I'm serious. What are they going to do? Like, if they start militarily attacking Iran, like, if any individual country decides to do that, I think that they will be targeted like crazy, and they will be hit a lot harder, and potentially Iran will do, like, the options that they've been holding for later, such as hitting their oil fields and hitting their desalination plants. I think they're going to start hitting the oil fields now because they allowed Israel to attack their oil fields or whatever. But they could start hitting the desalination plants. They could start hitting more civilian infrastructure. There's lots of things that Iran can still do that they have chosen not to do yet. In all honesty, they've been relatively restrained. in terms of like the targets that they're hitting. So I really don't see, unless they do it as an entire block and they're confident that, I don't know. I still don't think it would be a good idea to do, just particularly because of the desalination plants. If Iran takes those out, then Riyadh is empty within weeks. Like the entire city has to shut down essentially if that happens. So like I don't know if they're gonna try and do anything like that. And also, what can they do that America isn't already doing or that Israel isn't already doing? Like I don't understand how it would necessarily help them get a more strategic outcome if they did decide to do this. But I don't know. Maybe they'll try. Who knows?
The war or not? These are all very serious questions that they will be discussing around that table.
But we'll have to wait and see what comes out of that meeting.
Wait and see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, we're going to turn now to American domestic politics. I like to usually, after we're done with Iran, try and catch up on some, America news.
We'd start.
So we're going to check in with Breaking Points again. Ryan Grimm, my boy, he is on this panel. I'm loving the tie. Okay, so this one is going to be about the Illinois primaries that happened yesterday. I've heard, it's conflicting things here, right? I've heard from some people like this video that says AIPAC, this video is called AIPAC $20 million bet flops in major elections, right? Whereas I've also seen like articles and stuff talking about how the left faced a huge wipeout by AIPAC or whatever. So I kind of want to go over these conflicting narratives and see what's going on. I have my opinions, but I'll hold them until we get further along in the video and I get to listen to these people who are a lot smarter than me give their analysis. So let's see what they have to say. This is AIPAC $20 million bet flops in major elections by Breaking Points.
Start with F4 here. AIPAC spent at least $22 million in 4 Illinois congressional races that were very closely watched because there was only one race in which they spent openly and acknowledged that they were spending in the race. The other 3.
Oh, for those who are unaware, Kat Abu Ghazala, the one that I was hoping would win, did not. I think Biss, I forgot his first name. He was the one who won.
They funneled through kind of made up super PACs, one called Affordable Chicago Now, another one called Elect Chicago Women. When those got outed as AIPAC super PACs, they created a new one called Progressive Fund or something like that they started funneling money through.
We really got to put a limit on it to how many PACs an organization, like sub PACs an organization can create. This is getting insane. They literally create a new one for every race, it feels like at this point.
Let's go through these 4 races. Let's start with the one that everybody cares about the most, even though arguably it wasn't the most important one when it comes to the kind of gradients of ideological difference between the candidates. That's District 9, which was Laura Fine, who was the AIPAC candidate.
Way down here.
We knew it. It was clear, even though they were using kind of fake super PACs. Kat Abu Ghazala and Daniel Biss, who was Evanston mayor. And then you had Bushra Amiwala, who was a local elected official who was running kind of to Kat and Daniel's left. And people kept pushing to kind of drop out and endorse Kat. That was probably never going to happen. So Daniel Biss won by about 4,500 votes.
By the way, an incredible showing. Kat, she's like 25 or something. She's incredibly young. She always had an uphill battle just being a young person in politics, especially being a young woman in American politics. A lot of people just inherently aren't going to take you seriously for that because we live in a very patriarchal society. But she did incredible. She went from, it's almost a Zoran story, from like a very small percent, very little name recognition, and then just like skyrocketed to getting second place against what is essentially the establishment candidate, the Cuomo of this race or whatever, of Daniel Biss. He's probably like slightly better than Cuomo if I had to guess, but yeah, so like incredible showing. It just goes to show the desire that people have for in my opinion, for like more radical politics, that a person like Kat got this close when there was so much money spent against her.
4 points. Yeah.
One thing I think the left should take away from all of these races is that there should be a deep stigma on candidates who cannot win and refuse to drop out. And I'm not just talking about Bushra, I'm talking about across the board. There was a failure to consolidate. And when you combine a failure to consolidate behind a single candidate with millions of dollars in spending for the other candidate, it's very difficult to win. And you let then AIPAC candidates, win with like 30% of the vote.
I agree. Okay. If we lived in an ideal system, you could have multiple people and you could have ranked choice and everybody could go home happy with that or whatever. I don't know if this one in particular had ranked choice or not, or if this election did, but I do think that like getting on people to like drop out or whatever is a little bit like, this is why I'm conflicted. It's a little undemocratic to say, like, because people should be allowed to run, multiple types of candidates, and we should have a way of determining, who's the best person and vote for it. And like, so if I feel like the system is good enough, if it is, for instance, like a ranked choice or a system, then I don't necessarily have a problem with that, with having those people stay in. But it is all just strategic decisions at the end of the day. And if you don't have a system like that, if you don't have a ranked choice system where you can, put your second place candidate, etc., on there and they get, whatever, like, then at that point, yeah, I would prefer if you dropped out. If you dropped out and endorsed the other candidate, especially when it comes to serious ideological differences that like are like between say Kat and Biss or something that like are really important. For instance, like being in support of genocide or not. Like at that point you have to just like take the L and like support the person who's going to be better on that sort of issue. So I can kind of see it both ways, and I really do think it kind of depends on the electoral system that you're living in.
Fine only got 20%, which is pretty interesting.
So fine, just 20% with millions spent on her behalf.
I can't. I just have to pause for a moment to just think about how completely ridiculous it is that the people of Illinois' 9th District, suburban Chicago, had their race hijacked into a mandate on Middle Eastern foreign policy.
Right, except none of the
ads. Insane.
Well, that's what happens when you allow a foreign agency to come in and put unlimited money into our elections. Like, we have a system that allows unlimited money to go into our elections, and we also have we don't care if foreign agents come in and buy our elections. Like, we are corruption the country, like so like it's not surprising at all to me. This was always how it was going to be. This is how it has been forever. Like,
none of the actual ads talked about foreign policy,
right?
Even though there was.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and also, and I kept telling y'all this. Now you can believe me. Bushra finished 6th, so like people were like, no, she has a shot. She has a shot. No, so AIPAC put money behind Bushra Amiwala's campaign, trying to peel votes away.
Yeah, if that's happening, you got to get out. I'm sorry. If you're being if AIPAC is trying to funnel you money because they think that you are strategically going to help them, like by splitting the vote or whatever, then you got to get out just for again, when it comes to this particular issue, like we can't let AIPAC win and control these elections. Now, I do want to say one thing though. This is one of my I want all progressives to, or like leftists or whatever you consider yourself. If you're anti-AIPAC, I want you to listen here, because it's not everything is going to be a victory, and it's not going to be a victory all at once. I like to think of this as a very long goal, and the more money that we force them to put into every individual race is another chink in the armor that will eventually lead to the collapse of like AIPAC as an election buying machine or whatever. So even when there are losses, if you have forced them to put, say, in this case, in these 4 elections or whatever, $22 million to try and get their outcome, even if they do somewhat get their outcome, then it's still in a sense of victory because they had to put so much time and money into it. And the price is only going to go up in the future that AIPAC is going to have to spend if they want to try to keep the pro-Israel like freaks in office. So I always like to think to our, the people of Palestine and how much they suffer, and like not everything is an individual like tactical victory or whatever, but like even the losses, you're increasing the cost, right? You're increasing the cost on the enemy to try and keep doing the things, like the evil things that they're doing. And so, if you just keep remaining steadfast, eventually it's going to happen. Eventually, AIPAC will have to be spending such an absurd amount of money to buy elections for the Democrats that it's not even going to be worth it to them. So, keep your head up when it comes to that.
From Kat and from BIS to try to boost Laura Fine. She finished behind multiple candidates that you've never even heard of. She got a total of 6,000 votes, 5%. Every single one of her votes would have had to go to Kat in order for Kat to win. And
Right.
there's just no world in which 100%
Probably wasn't going to happen.
of votes go from one candidate to another.
Yeah, a lot of them are protest votes anyway.
Yeah, and a lot of her supporters did not like Kat. Her support was concentrated among South Asian population, which also had problems with Kat for other kind of optical reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So BIS, who had the support of J Street and had millions spent against him by AIPAC, or hundreds of thousands
Yeah,
at least.
J Street is the liberal Zionist lobby, by the way. They're no good either. All Zionists are evil. There's no such thing as liberal Zionism.
I don't know if it climbed millions
It's
against,
a
but
contradiction.
millions in total spent by AIPAC to try to win this race. So BIS ends up winning. BIS had kind of an Elizabeth Warren Democrat. He had Elizabeth Warren's endorsement like on day one of the campaign. And this is kind of an Elizabeth Warren district. It's kind of suburban district. So ended up, so he ends up winning. He'll win the general. It's not even close. In his victory speech last night, he mentions J Street and AIPAC. Let's roll
Is
that.
there what he has to say?
Let me end this simply by saying AIPAC found out the hard way. The 9th district is not for sale.
Well, just kinda. You did get, like, I assume a lot of J Street donations as well or whatever, which I don't see as that far away from AIPAC. And also, they did influence the election to some extent. Now, like they said earlier, he was probably going to win regardless of the AIPAC, like, because, like, well, I guess, yeah, because AIPAC spent money against him. Like, they spent for their own AIPAC candidate, which, like, it may have siphoned some. I don't think so, though. I don't think it siphoned any votes from Kat. So, like, I don't know. Kinda, sure.
So enough about AIPAC. May tonight be the last time I utter their name. This victory belongs to J Street. And they can defend J Street to fight tooth and nail against unspeakable odds for that point of view that represents the mainstream in this district and the mainstream of the Jewish community.
Yeah! Maybe the mainstream in the Jewish community, and maybe the mainstream in that district, but J Street does not represent the mainstream of America. Like, Americans are anti-Israel on average. Like, their first line, I just looked it up, the first line of their, like, description is pro-Israel. Like, so they do not represent the mainstream of the general populace.
So the question now, Emily, for the left will be, I think, around organizing BIS and putting pressure on BIS. There is an argument that, and this unfolded in the Malinowski district in New Jersey 11, where Ana Lilia Mejia ended up winning thanks to AIPAC, smashing Malinowski.
Right.
So Malinowski was a former, had been a an elected Democrat. Before, he had worked at the State Department. He had a lot of credibility among Democrats in the House when it came to foreign policy. And so what AIPAC said publicly was that even though Malinowski was much milder in his criticism of Israel, his mild criticism was more of a threat to them than Mejia's strong criticism, because they think they can marginalize Mejia and say, well, you don't need to listen to her, she's crazy squad radical. But Malinowski is harder for them to marginalize. And so that was their, either cope or their rationale for why they were
like
actually
stupid.
okay that their preferred candidate lost and they accidentally boosted this squad-like candidate. Now, I think they miscalculated. I think Ana Lilia is going to have a lot more power in the House.
Yeah, I think that's a stupid. I think that they're probably lying. I think under all circumstances they will, like, I think that they just view it all as the same, to be honest. I think that they think the mildest of mild criticism of Israel, which is by far the mainstream public opinion, is just as bad and scary to them as like an actual quote unquote radical who, you know, wants to like stop sending all arms to Israel. Like, I think they're so brain broken that they can't even really tell the difference anymore, to be honest. Which is a good thing. It's the good thing about fascism is that it's self-destructive, and Zionism is fascism. So the stupidest of the stupid rise to the top under fascism. And so like eventually it eats itself and destroys itself.
Than they expected, but that was their rationale. That was the same rationale they used to spend millions to defeat Andy Levin in Michigan. Levin was a synagogue president and part of the Levin family dynasty, member of Congress. He was redistricted into a race with Haley Stevens, and AIPAC spent millions to back Stevens over Levin.
So hard to follow.
And they publicly made this argument that it was dangerous to have a guy who called himself a liberal Zionist, who was a synagogue president,
Not a thing.
who was criticizing Israel, who was casting votes against Israel, and was supporting Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar when they were being called anti-Semitic. He would show up with them and say, they are not. They are my friends. They have legitimate criticisms of Israel, and you cannot weaponize anti-Semitism against them.
Yeah, well, so he's probably trying to help them, to be honest. He's trying to be like, dude, you guys are being fucking freaks. You're being weird. Nobody likes it when you do this like crazy shit and try to like call the cops or call the manager on like every single person who like sneezes the wrong way at Israel. Like, yeah, you look insane. Please, guys, just cut it out. And they always are just like, no, we're gonna go even crazier against these people. It's
just because
wild.
you disagree with them politically. And the fact that he was a synagogue president made that punch from him land much harder. And so they said, we need to get him out of office.
Yeah.
And they got him out of office. And a similar thing is unfolding with Biss. Biss's mom was Israeli. He's got lots of connections to Israel. He has the support of J Street, which calls itself liberal Zionist.
Not a thing.
So to have Biss out there attacking AIPAC and criticizing Israel and supporting Block the Bombs, which doesn't go far enough, but it is considered to be existential to
embargo, invade. That's what I want. That's what I want from my fellow Democrats out there. If you're listening, if you want to know what your humble, technically clay YouTuber wants from my Democratic representatives, it's embargo Israel and invade Israel. Invade Israel, force them into peace at the end of a gun. Like, say, hey, Israel, if you don't give Palestinians equal rights in this entire territory, including Gaza, the West Bank, if you don't demolish all the walls, demolish all the roads that are dividing up the West Bank, create a completely just and equal society with equal rights for all, then we are going to invade you and we are going to force you to do it. That's my personal opinion, okay? I want boots on the ground in Israel.
Israel and AIPAC, the Block the Bombs Act. They feel like this is a significant threat to them.
You can see how that would make sense.
Yeah, and so for them they're now doing this cope, like, we beat Kat and we beat Bushra. Bushra finished 6th, get out of I'm not giving you spent money to support her.
Bushra got 21% of the vote.
So he's going into the cope. So maybe I won't even have to read the article I was planning to read if he goes over some of it, but let's see.
And collectively, Biss and Abu Ghazala got well over a majority, and their candidate got 20%.
Yeah.
So they got washed. So now, what people have to do is organize
in suburban
around
Chicago.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw somebody saying yesterday that the kind of anti-Zionist movement needs to have more space for these quote-unquote liberal Zionist critics of Israel because
no, they don't.
Their argument was
they'll get consumed into like they'll get either they'll either join us on our side at some point, or they'll get cast to the wind and like they will not be popular enough to be elected. We don't need them. Like we don't need to be open to quote unquote liberal Zionists because like it's just not a thing. It just holds water for genocide. That's all it does.
In the journey from full-on AIPAC level support of Israel to becoming anti-Zionist, it's actually a bigger leap to go from AIPAC hardcore right-wing Zionism to liberal Zionism. Like that is a harder move to make and more dramatic than it is to go from liberal Zionism to anti-Zionism. Because once you're in the liberal Zionist space and you're starting to talk about apartheid and occupation and genocide, the rationale and the logic just pushes you to anti-Zionism.
Yeah, it's just truth. It's the truth. The truth will set you free. I don't know who said that, but like, yeah, if you are on the side of truth and honesty, it's much, the closer you get to truth, the more you will just inevitably fall into like the right position or whatever.
Eventually.
Like you don't have to live in this completely manufactured, like to be able to be like a right-wing, like Zionist or whatever, you have to live in this like completely manufactured reality. By the time that you're in liberal Zionism, you are like partially living in a fantasy world or whatever, like a fantasy world where Israel is both a democratic state and also is doing an apartheid or whatever, or like is like needs to be reined in from their like colonial objectives or whatever. And he's right. It's a very small, like once that is punctured even slightly, like once you're out of the hermetically sealed, like manufactured reality that you need to be like a like crazy right-wing Zionist, then it does become very easy to slide into just the truthful position.
Actually, like it's just a question of how long it takes you to move from there to there. So the argument would be the goal now of Kat supporters and Bushra supporters needs to be to pressure BIS to go further. And I think there's also opportunities to do that in the two other districts where AIPAC won. But let's do District 7 next, where AIPAC caught just a brutal L. The only race where they spent
I'm going to let this play for a second. I got to use the bathroom.
And admitted that they were the ones doing the spending. It was like $4 to $5 million they put behind Melissa Conyers-Irvin, who is the comptroller of Chicago, currently under investigation for corruption. Just comically corrupt. This was a massively divided field, and according to all of the kind of prognosticators, them putting this many millions in the race behind her was going to be enough to just push her over the top, that you just couldn't compete with that avalanche of money. She lost. She finished with 20.5%, almost exactly what Laura Fine got.
Yeah.
AIPAC's many millions of dollars got her 19,000 votes, which is 3,000 less than LaShawn Ford.
I wonder how much money that was per vote.
Brutal. And that's only the money we know about. That doesn't count like mailers and like C4 and like all the off the books kind of spending. Incredible. Like you could have gone around and paid $1,000 to every person, like old school Chicago
So
stuff.
literally you could have done that. You could have paid $2,000.
We'll give you $2,000. Please just show up.
Oh my gosh.
Instead, they gave it to consultants who were going to buy a boat and lost. Now, the races they won, we saw that they were bragging about Donna Miller. So in District 2, Jan Schakowsky endorsed Donna Miller, and then AIPAC started doing this, these fake super PACs to support her. And when it was exposed that it was AIPAC money, Schakowsky withdrew her endorsement. AIPAC now, boasting haha, we won anyway. As we talked about in the last segment, they sort of deny and call it a conspiracy theory that they're the ones behind these super PACs. But then when their candidate wins, they take credit for the victory.
Obviously them.
Which is, there's just...
Well, and you can just, the money, like, you can just follow the money. It is them. Like, I don't know why they even try to pretend that it's not them.
Do you get to do that? I don't think you
I guess so.
They've never found a reason not to call somebody anti-Semitic. I feel like if there's not a reason, they'll find a reason.
I don't think you get to do that. So Donna Miller did win with 40% of the vote, and this is where we need to stigmatize the lack of consolidation. So 60% of people voted against her, but she still won. So Jesse Jackson Jr. and Robert Peters split their vote. Jesse Jackson Jr. trying to make a comeback. Peters was kind of like the progressive real hope in that race, but Jesse Jackson Jr. has such a name and a reputation there that he was always going to do quite well. He got almost 30%. Was it Yvette Brown with 10%, pulling another, so those three candidates, one of them needed to, the left needs some mechanism.
Yeah, okay, it's strategy. This is all strategy, and we have to determine our strategy based on the system we live in. In an ideal system, we would have ranked choice voting or some way for, to mitigate the ideological, like, vote splitting that happens in any election. It happens in all circumstances for every type of ideology. But given the current constraints of our political system, yes, we do have to be strategic. I agree.
To say, no, this is who we're getting behind. Because this
was a typical Tea Party conundrum.
It's tough.
Them Tea Party hitting the same snag,
It's tough.
Okay. I think that I'm kind of done with this. I was looking, like, it looks like just a lot more analysis. I did want to kind of pull up this article, though, just to kind of give the AIPAC-backed perspective of what other people are like, what they would be saying. Now, Axios I usually trust as like a objective reporting. This feels very, very propagandistic, and I'm very surprised that they would have like a title like this or whatever when this is not like objective reality, in my opinion. I think it was, a relatively neutral, if not been like, I would say like it was kind of a bad day for AIPAC if I had to guess, and that generally the left overperformed all over. And so this is a very silly, I think, title. Andrew Solender, I don't really know what you're doing. You might want to, I don't know, you might want to go back to title school or whatever. You might want to you might have missed that day because, yeah, that's not an objective fact here, and it doesn't say opinion in front of it. But so I'm just going to read this real quick just so that people can kind of, because we're probably going to see a lot of this in the near term, and anytime that AIPAC even has like something that it can spin is slightly not a loss. So I just want to read this so that people can know what to look out for when they're seeing these articles. But okay, this is "The Squad Left Suffers Complete Wipeout in Illinois" by Andrew Solender. The left suffered a virtually total collapse in Illinois Democratic congressional primaries on Tuesday night, even in races where the AIPAC-backed candidate lost. Again, we kind of just went over why that's not 100% the case, but okay. Why it matters. It's a bad sign for the dozens of insurgent Democrats running in congressional races across the country, both in open seats as primary rivals to older or more establishment-oriented incumbents. I don't really think so. I think they all overperformed. Like Ryan Grimm said, a lot of them, if they hadn't split the vote or whatever, they would have won. And AIPAC honestly didn't really do that great the entire, like, in any of the races or whatever. A lot of their backed candidates lost to more moderately criticism, Israel criticizing candidates or whatever. But It's great news for House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who is most popular among the moderate and mainstream liberal wings of his party. Hakeem isn't going anywhere. His district is he will safely continue winning his district. He's very popular in his district. He just the entire party hates him. The entire base of the Democratic Party hates him. Like they think that he sucks. And he might not get a leadership role next time if I had to guess, but most of the Democratic House candidates who have refused to commit to supporting Jeffries for leader or speaker are leftist insurgents. Yeah. Driving the news. Kat Abu Ghazala, a left-wing influencer and journalist backed by Justice Democrats and the Sunrise Movement, lost to Evanston Mayor Daniel Biss in the closely watched race in Illinois' 9th District. Biss and Abu Ghazala were both opposed by AIPAC, whose proxy elect Chicago women spent millions in support of pro-Israel State Senator Laura Fine, who came in third. Major L. But AIPAC pivoted in the final week of the campaign to focusing its fire on the more pro-Palestinian Abu Ghazala than Biss, who was backed by the Congressional Progressive Caucus and Senator Elizabeth Warren. They retracted all of their support for Biss the moment that he said anything even remotely when he said anything remotely anti-Israel. So I don't think that's true. I don't think they supported him at all. I think that they might have counterbalanced Abu Ghazala with like other progressives or whatever by pumping other progressives, but yeah. Another AIPAC affiliate, Chicago Progressive Partnership, ran ads painting Abu Ghazala as a closet Republican and boosting a lower tier leftist in the race, Bushra Amiwala. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. They boosted this person. But also, you can see by their strategy that the premise of this article is wrong. They say the squad left suffers complete wipeout, but all of the ad spend and everything that AIPAC is doing is to paint these super left-wing progressive people as somehow closet Republicans or like right-wing in a way, showing that it's really unpopular to be right-wing or to be centrist or like anywhere even moderately close to the center, instead of being like some form of like radical to the left when it comes to the Democratic Party. So a similar story played out in the 8th District, where progressive Junaid Ahmed lost to moderate former Representative Melissa Bean, the pick of both AIPAC and crypto and AI-affiliated PACs. Unlike Abu Ghazala, however, Ahmed was supported by both the CPC and Warren, and Justice Democrats, and Senator Bernie Sanders, and local Democratic Socialists of America chapter. Like, under what circumstance, like, okay. Like, yes, like Ahmed, I don't know a ton about Ahmed, okay? I don't know, or sorry. Oh, okay. Never mind. I got it backwards. Sorry. Ahmed was supported. So Abu Ghazala did not get the endorsement of these chapters. Ahmed did, is what they're saying, but he still lost. In Illinois' 2nd District, progressive state senator Robert Peters came in a distant third behind AIPAC-backed Cook County Commissioner Donna Miller and former Rep. Jesse Jackson. This was the vote-splitting one. The person who won got 40% of the vote, whereas, they should have consolidated, I guess, in this circumstance. And in the 7th District, CPC-backed labor leader Anthony Driver Jr. and progressive organizer Keena Collins finished 3rd and 4th. The race was won by who edged out AIPAC. So, okay, AIPAC lost that one too. AIPAC says life looks pretty good, boasting that Illinois voters rejected far-left would-be squad members who centered their campaigns on attacking Israel. Like I said, this was a mixed bag. This whole night was a mixed bag. But the thing that you can take for a matter of fact is that AIPAC spent $20-something million here and got a mixed bag result. The more money we bleed from them in these races, the less money they have for other races. You just have to keep making it as costly as possible. On the 9th District, they said in another post, while disappointed Laura Fine didn't prevail, the pro-Israel community is proud to have helped defeat would-be squad member, the Kat Abu Ghazala and Bushra Amiwala, the person that you tried to boost in order to split the vote with Kat. But Yeah, all of this is pointing, like, in my opinion, to like, none of this shows that, like, left-wing populism or whatever is somehow, like, not working or whatever, like the premise of this, that they're trying to portray. I think that what this shows, if anything, is that AIPAC and all of these groups are getting a lot trickier. They're attacking left candidates, saying that they're right wingers or saying that they're centrists, in order to get people to not vote for them. But the actual, like, policy positions of the left are, like, incredibly popular right now. And Kat was a completely unknown person before this, and she got up to, like, second place, lost by 5% or whatever, or like less than 5%. So, that's a win in and of itself, even with the amount of money being put against her. The other side, left-wing groups focus on the money spent by AIPAC and AI and crypto affiliate PACs, also knowing that many of the ads those groups ran touted the more moderate candidates as progressive fighters. Yeah, they're just lying. They're getting better at lying in their ads while trying to undermine the left-wing bona fides of their leftist rivals. Yeah, of course. It took AIPAC, AI, and crypto coming together to spend millions whitewashing Melissa Bean's right-wing record in Congress to elect a former congressman. Justice Democrats Executive Director Alexandra Rojas said in a statement on the result in the 8th District, yeah, it's just getting more and more expensive for them, and it'll keep getting more and more expensive as time goes on. Rojas said the result in the 9th District takes nothing away from the trailblazing campaign Kat ran, and is a massive loss for AIPAC as they lose more and more influence within the Democratic Party. I agree. No amount of shell packs or covert funding can hide their toxicity from Democratic votes, she said. A Justice Democratic spokesperson also stressed that the group spent very little in these races, while AIPAC spending was, in several cases, combined with spending by AI and crypto PACs. Yeah, so it's just, I think we're going to see a lot of framing like this. Anytime that the right, or anytime that AIPAC gets even like a slight victory like they did last night, I think we're going to see a lot of these think pieces and articles come out about how, oh, it's totally, the left is totally done. Their policies are toxic. Nobody likes them. If you do an actual analysis of how AIPAC is spending their money, what they're saying in their ads, everything points to and indicates that that it is incredibly toxic right now to be anti-Israel, or sorry, to be pro-Israel in the Democratic Party. And every single day it's going to become more and more toxic. There's nothing they can do about it. It's just going to keep happening. So they spent $22 million this time. Next time, let's make them spend $40 million. The time after that, let's make them spend $80 million. The time after that, let's make them spend $100 million. The time after that, let's make them spend $150 million. We just keep getting the price up. There's an amount that I'm sure that they can spend it on any election to get their candidate in. We just need to make it so costly and so unfeasible for them to do so. So that is my opinion on the matter. You have heard it. You have loved it. You do not disagree with me even in the slightest, I can tell. Okay. Oh no, my YouTube channel. I did a oopsie-daisy. Let's see here. Got to go back to my playlist.
No, I'm not afraid of.
You know that voice, but that's not who we're going to listen to. Okay. Let's have a little bit of fun. It's fun and politics. Who's ready to get gut-felded? I know I am. I'm always ready for the feld. I'm always ready to get gut-felded. We're going to watch a video by Fox News. I have not pre-watched any of this. I know Gutfeld is he's a fun guy to make fun of. So I have a feeling this will be a fun video. But this video is called Gutfeld. Great move, Gavin. And I'm assuming they're talking about Gavin Newsom. So let's see what the video of the day is from Gutfeld.
He's a lightning rod for government fraud.
Why is he always wearing a sweater? I feel like he always looks like he's going to a Christmas party.
Our video of the day comes from independent journalist Nick Shirley,
who's
taking his search for government grift to California.
Oh no, not Nick Shitley, dude. This dude, man. whoever said like I don't know, like you're gonna have a hard time if you got like like if you're mentally handicapped. Like this is an icon. Like you look at how like this dude is like the dumbest person who has ever existed. He's dumber than dirt, okay? And look at what he's been able to make of himself. He's become he has ascended into the ranks of the most reactionary provocateurs that has ever existed. And I'm sure he is getting millions of dollars for doing so. So for all of the stupids out there, for all of the people who have, who have had a hard time making it in like a traditional job or in a traditional role or whatever. Um, look at what can happen if you just do that. If you just do right wing propaganda like agitprop, racist agitprop. Look at what can happen. But okay, I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent. Let's see what Gutfeld has to say.
Lightning rod for government fraud. Our video of the day comes from independent journalist Nick Shirley, who's taken his search for government grift to California's social welfare programs. Nick recently visited multiple daycares in San Diego, operating out of small apartments with owners that either refused to talk or weren't even there at all. Watch.
We just arrived at the daycare.
That's just his classic day.
Kids out here. I don't know if they're members of the daycare.
This is the thing he loves to do. He loves to just go up to like to daycares and just try to get in and see the kids. Now, I personally I wouldn't let him into where the kids are because I don't know. I don't think he would be a very good influence, but yeah.
Okay. There's no oversight right here. Can we talk to your teacher?
That's got to be his mom, right?
Is your teacher there? So this is the first child we've ever encountered at one of these daycares. There's 2 kids out here right now, and we're gonna see if we can talk to the
licensee.
Can we talk to the adult?
He is not here.
Not here.
Yeah.
So you guys all better.
Dude, I don't understand. This might be like a me thing, but I don't understand what the difference is between this and like homeschooling. Like, why is this so offensive compared to like homeschooling? Is it like, or is it because they think that they're like using a bunch of taxes or something to do this? Like, I don't really understand. I don't understand why they find this offensive necessarily. Because don't homeschooled people, don't they get subsidies as well? Like, isn't this just homeschooling?
No, because see by myself.
Yeah, okay, that's concerning. No one's watching those children, and they're all by themselves.
Ugh. Their faces are all covered with blurry garbage.
Good one,
Clean that
Gutfeld.
up. Then it was hospice care programs. Many in LA were what looked to be like shell companies funding their owners' life of luxury.
The way that he talks here, it makes me think that he's making fun of Nick Shirley. Like it makes me sound. It sounds like he's doing this thing where it sounds like he's like being like overly serious, like he's being overly serious in a comedic way about like how stupid this shit is. Because this is exactly how I would present this if I was making fun of Nick Shirley.
This time, instead of tiny apartment units, these businesses were operating out of old hotel rooms.
All these buildings are all hospice centers. Let's see if Grandma could check herself into this one. I'm just trying to be a good grandson. We're knocking the door, no one's coming. We look inside the window, empty building. In 2023, this place received $1.3 million.
Not a single piece of furniture.
See, I just don't know. I can like maybe that's the case. Like maybe that's something like there's fraud everywhere, dude. But like this is not journalism. This is not like finding a source and finding information. This is going to a place and seeing if there are people there and then drawing like whatever conclusion you want about that afterwards. Like he said 2023, right? It's 2026 now. Like who's to say this is still, if it was operating as a hospice care in 2023, who's to say that it still is? Like, I don't know.
Nothing.
Insane. This is insane.
Mercedes-Benz driving out. Where can we open a hospice at? We'd like to open up a hospice.
What?
Get a Maybach just like you. So is this how I can get a Maybach by opening up my own hospice?
Is he just
So what do you
harassing
think
people?
about all
Why
this
is he in a
hospice
suit?
fraud? Sir,
What? This looks like a planted car.
you're in the Cybertruck, driving away, taking money from old people. Yet he's just driving away in his Cybertruck, won't even answer any questions.
Meanwhile,
so he went to one. Okay, so I saw him go to one place. Nobody was there, and then he told me about how it was a hospice center in 2023. Nothing that he did disproved any of that. Like, if he wanted to check if it was being fraudulent, he should go talk to the person who ran it, who requested the funding or whatever. He should go, I don't know, just like follow the money. Like, that's how reporters would usually figure something like this out. This isn't journalism.
Gavin Newsom's press office responded with a flippant AI post. If you could look at it, it's implying that Nick...
See, he's good at memeing, but yeah, that's like, yeah, I would not let this guy in.
is a pedophile.
Yeah, probably. I mean, sorry, I shouldn't say that. I don't know for sure, but if you are going around trying to find all these kids like this, like, he has the mentality of a 12-year-old, so maybe it doesn't count.
Calling someone who's helping you save your state a pedophile. Further proof that Newsom's still hopeless at putting out fires.
Gutfeld.
Kat, I don't know where to start here, except that's really a terrible response.
Could you imagine if he had shown some interest?
Yes.
In it wouldn't have hurt him politically, I wouldn't think.
Thanks, Nick.
For it to be, hey, thanks.
Okay, it's like, no, I'm not going to take the ramblings of a, like, mentally handicapped 18-year-old seriously. I'm sorry, no, I'm not. Like, if he was doing actual journalism, if he was a reporter who went and figured this stuff out and, like, followed the money and then wrote a piece about it, wrote a story about it, then yes, I would take it seriously. But, like when a mentally handicapped person goes up to a door and then asks to see the children and there's no adult there or something, that's not, like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, I don't see any evidence. I don't see what I don't even necessarily know what you're trying to say. So it's like,
you know what? He wouldn't even have to actually do anything, because let's be honest, most people in the government never do.
Yes.
But just to have a political win of, like, you know what? That is interesting. I'm going to look in this room of children that's there with no supervision.
Nah. If you do that, then they'll just go on a spree about how obviously correct they were and how, you never capitulated all. Gavin Newsom handled it right. You just meme him into oblivion. Like I said, like, he's not a real journalist. You don't have to take him seriously.
Yes.
And also, nobody takes these people seriously anyway. The people who watch this, besides me, are like 95 years old. Like, they're gonna die in like 2 seconds. So who gives a shit what they think?
Don't just call him a pedophile.
I'm going to look into
But hey, hey. I have about as much evidence that Nick Shirley is a pedophile as he has, like, shown me evidence that there is fraud over there in California, or at least what you've presented. Okay, so I think those are two equally valid and equally proven cases so far.
You could have actually.
And in fact, because Nick Shirley has the brain of a 10-year-old or whatever, like, maybe, like, it makes even more sense to me.
It's pretty clear he has aspirations on a national stage, right?
Yes.
That would have been an opportunity for him to do something like that.
Gavin Newsom.
I mean, it's just, we're so broken at this point where it's like we see stuff like this, it's like, oh, well, that's a politician.
I'd prefer Gavin Nasty to stay in California, stop being a governor, and just become a meme lord online. Like, just be like Kyle Kalinske or something and meme around online. I think that's what I would want for him. That's from my perspective.
That I do like. So I'm going to find a way to. It's like we should all be pissed off about this. That our money,
about
our
what?
taxes,
He didn't show anything.
So much money in taxes, and you get smeared by people if you complain about it. Like, oh, you don't care about blah, 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 blah. But it's like, no, it's just the money. It's like we said in New York.
But it's so frustrating because they don't care. They don't care about fraud, obviously. Like, the biggest fraudsters in America are, like, the big companies and, like, and the millionaires and billionaires who get tax breaks for fucking everything and never do what they say they're going to do with those tax breaks, or like the medical insurance like industry or whatever. Like there's fraud all over the country. The vast majority of it is coming from the wealthy or whatever. And yes, there are instances of like individual acts of fraud or whatever, like by people doing things like I don't know, pretending to run hospice out of their apartments or whatever. Like I'm sure that does happen. But the amount of money that it is in comparison with like the amount of fraud that like contractors skim off the top of like government contracts, or like corporations or billionaires get on their like taxes and stuff when they don't pay them, like it's minuscule, it's negligible.
81,000 in a fiscal year for each homeless person.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at that, it's not that you don't want to help, it's that I'm well aware, I know enough that the money isn't helping anyone.
Right. And you know what?
They
When
just
I
want
heard
to get
about
rid
the
of government.
$81,000 per homeless person, it made me glad that I didn't give them money. Tyrus,
these people, they literally want to take homeless people and burn them for biofuel. Like, I swear to God, they actually want that.
I love that. It's like they don't even try. They have a hospice in a hotel room.
Well, because they haven't had a reason, because they have the protection of the politicians.
Yeah.
What?
That made a point where they say, why wouldn't he help? Because this is what politicians do. They look the other way. The money ends up somewhere.
Why?
It always ends up back in a camp.
Why? What do they get out of that? What does Gavin Newsom get out of allowing these people to, if it even happened or whatever, to take this money from the government? Like, it's the same amount like that what I just don't understand what they get out of that.
Pain or somewhere. Yep. I mean, there's a reason why they attacked him. My advice, Nick, is keep going. Increase your security.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Oh,
Who is this bitch? Look at him, his fucking hat. I should have made fun of him more earlier. Nick Shirley, you gotta. I don't think you should keep going, because I think you're gonna get yourself killed one of these days. I think that someday you're gonna like go harass the wrong Cybertruck owner, and like, you're just gonna get shot and dead, dude. But I don't know. If you really want to keep going, go for it. It does make good content.
Why? Here's why. It's just when you confront somebody about something and their reaction is defensive, or in this case, they took a ground game. They're trying to smear him like he's a pedophile or a sexual deviant, because that will get more pickups from mainstream media than it would be the fact that trillions of dollars.
I mean, I haven't seen any evidence that he's not a pedophile. Right? That's the argument they use a lot. I haven't seen any evidence that this is wrong. So I don't know. I'm keeping my options open on believing that.
Through helping human beings to load the pockets. All those people that were driving out in those cars, they still got to pay someone else who pays someone else. It's a long train. And again, if he's not, I would love for him to come out and show us how, as governor, and
Nick Shirley's going to get distracted by a choo-choo train.
Tim Walz, he was not. They're always never aware of it, but when you come to them with, we got a guy who has evidence, they attack the guy with the evidence.
Yeah.
I didn't go to Harvard.
What evidence? I still haven't seen the evidence that they're talking about. Gutfeld, if there actually is like legitimate evidence that this is happening, you are presenting this terribly.
I went to a little teaching school in Nebraska, and I'm not a scientist, and I'm not an economic engineer, whatever the hell it is, but I know a crook when I see one, and this is no different than anybody else that's stealing from one group.
I mean, I think I do too. And like this guy, this hat, this beard, these tattoos, it's definitely given crook to like the one overall. Like, is that has to be like a gang affiliation, right? I don't know. I think I know a crook when I see one too. And if I saw this guy, like, I would probably instantly give my wallet to them if I pass them going down the street.
You go to them, and the people that they're paying off are telling you to shut up, and that's what they're telling him, to shut up.
Jamie, Nick Shirley, the guy there, he's 23 years old. And he's having such a huge impact. It must make you feel terrible that you're twice his age.
Yeah.
And you've never made an impact on anything. It's got to.
I mean, yeah, like I said, Nick Shirley is an inspiration to the medically stupid everywhere. Like, like he shows what you can accomplish with like 2 brain cells in a dream, man.
It's just got to eat your insides right now.
Yeah. It's weird. It does it more when you talk about it so directly.
I mean, he looked
Maybe you
pretty
could have
brain
pulled him
dead
aside
too.
after the show.
Is this supposed to be a comedy show? This guy, he's really given, like, this does feel like Nick Shirley if he went a different route and like aged 20 years.
If I was Gavin Newsom, or as I like to call him, Jean-Fraud Van Damme,
Not funny.
I would hire Nick Shirley and I would fire the 3rd grader that runs their Twitter account. I would
Yes.
hire him. I would put him right on the thing. And I
I
don't know
wouldn't.
if you got. I watched the entire.
I don't even
40-minute
know if
segment,
Nick.
By the way.
I don't even know if Nick Shirley's meme game is any good. Why would I hire him for that? That would be stupid.
Some of these names, these are all real. Were better than other ones. One of the hospice names, it was called Healing Miracle, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty good one. That's where I want to go. Another one, no joke, was called Garden Angels. Not Guardian Angels.
Well, that's probably
Garden
trademarked.
Angels, like that's a
Or copyrighted.
landscaping place.
That's better than Leering Center.
It's right there with Larry. One of them was called.
What is wrong with this guy? His vibes are all wrong. What is he looking at? Why does he have a 90-yard stare? Like there's someone with a gun right off screen saying, like pointing it at him, being like, "Be funny, be funny, be funny." It's like the Fox News producer like over there being like, "If you don't make me laugh in the next 5 seconds, I'm going to shoot you in the face." Because he's really the vibes are all off with this guy.
In and out hospice. That's not good. And by the way, Greg, Nick 100%. I don't even have to say this, but Nick 100% not a pedophile. He left 2 completely unattended children right there.
Yeah. And he's
Well, he was on camera though. He was on camera. Wait, what did he say?
And he's a Mormon.
Oh, okay. I don't think that's. I think. I mean, I'm assuming he knows, right, that like Mormons, they have a pretty wide reputation of, especially like family-related pedophilia incidents. So I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hotep. This is
yeah, that was the face I was making.
But it's insane how Gavin responded.
Yeah, true, but Nick pisses me off.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not a fan of Nick.
Me too.
Because he's doing all this exposing, but he ain't telling me which form I got to fill out.
Hotep. What are you talking about? What form?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I could be Somali too.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, my great.
Oh, he's saying like, how do I get in on this fraud? I assume that it's harder than it looks, if or that it doesn't exist and he's just making shit up. Again, I just go back to like, give me more evidence. If he gave me more evidence, maybe I would believe him. But it's hard for me to take like a mentally handicapped 26-year-old seriously when he goes and just knocks on a door and asks to see the children, you know?
Great grandmother is there.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, look at me. I am the captain now. You know?
Okay.
I could do this.
Why not? Why not? Why are we the ones being ripped off?
That's what I'm saying.
Hotep.
Get a piece of it. We'll split it.
But you know what else he's actually? We're gonna definitely split that. But you know what else he's really exposing on a serious note? I think it's the fact that there's so much available capital in America, and us, the Americans, aren't going and finding out how to get that and actually building real institutions.
Hit it. The nail on.
Yeah, they're going to go into a big anti-government spiel here, which is like the obvious like reason that they're doing this. Like I said, there's fraud everywhere, but like I don't really know. Like, it's just we should go after the biggest bang for our buck when it comes to fraud, and most of these things are like individual, like small acts of fraud, but there is such systemic fraud, like for instance in just people doing their taxes, or like billionaires doing their taxes where they don't pay any fucking taxes, that like that should be the first thing that we go after in order to get, you know, in order to get money that is like doesn't belong to them or whatever, that they're just like stealing from us. So like I don't know. It's always this sort of stuff is always very silly to me.
Ahead, drive around America, you can see these like businesses that are open and nothing's going on. That's like unrecognized. I mean, it's weird. It's like all this money.
It's like a lamp store.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how many lamps do you need? You know?
Yes, that's a good question. I wake up every morning and I go, how many lamps do I need?
It's so not funny,
I mean,
dude.
where you have a whole store. You don't sell anything else.
I would
Not
like
even
to,
light bulbs, just lamps.
think.
What time slot is this? This has to be late, right? This has to air at like 11 or 12 o'clock, if I had to guess.
Own a lamp store, and then I wouldn't have to worry about lamps.
Well, if it's the Tyrus Hotep lamp store, you will, because there won't be any lamps in it.
All right. Hey.
Okay. 10 o'clock Easter time. I was close. Yeah, incredibly unfunny. I don't know. Like I said, Nick Shirley, I need more evidence to know you're not a pedophile. I'm sorry. You presented so little evidence that like there was more evidence of that than there was of fraud that I saw in this video, or at least the same, I would say. So, okay. What should I do now? I'm going to do a short video here. This one should be pretty quick. This was a recent story, but apparently there's been some spring break chaos going on. I gotta learn about what all the college students, what they're doing down there, why everything's getting so chaotic. Oh wow, it's apparently an officer was shot. Okay, this I'm assuming is going to be some local news about like from Florida or wherever this happened. But okay, this is spring break beach mayhem. Officer shot during chaotic weekend in Florida. Let's see what happened.
This was the scene this morning on I-95 near Beville Road. South Daytona police say the suspect and the officer were both shot after a chase ended with that suspect firing at police after his car crashed. Channel 9's JJ Burton reports police said the officer is stable right now.
It started as a road rage shooting in Port Orange, and South Daytona police were helping Port Orange with this chase. The chief of police says his officer is lucky. He says God was on his side because he's expecting his officer to leave the hospital today. As for the suspect, he is in custody, but he is critical.
God's not on his side, I guess.
Officer Jake Fesentin, he's been with the department for 2 years, and the police say that the suspect is Todd Anthony Martin. According to South Daytona police, Martin fired several shots at a driver stemming from a road rage altercation in Port Orange. He then led Port Orange police on a police chase, and they crashed.
Florida and road rage do not mix well, I'm just saying.
His car on I-95 and the Interstate 4 interchange. And they say Martin then tried to run on foot. He then allegedly started shooting at officers. Then he got into Officer Fesentin's car. They say he then somehow set that car on fire and then got out and started shooting again.
Okay, that's kind of badass. I love a good cop car burning, to be honest.
And that's when Officer Fesentin hit him, and he was also hit twice. Again, Martin is in custody. We're working to find out exactly his condition at this time here at the hospital. Reporting in Daytona, I'm JJ Burton, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Hey, Daytona is where I proposed to my wife, just FYI.
Developing at 6 chaos on the sand at Daytona Beach. As you can see here, huge.
It was right there. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know what.
Crowds running frantically all over the shore. And at the same time, police in Daytona Beach are investigating 4 different shootings that happened in the city over the weekend. Channel 9's Demi Johnson has new information from police.
We know that there were no shootings here actually on the beach, but there have been 4 shootings in Daytona Beach since Friday. 2 of those happening on Seabreeze and Main Street, the city's 2 main tourist districts. We want to show you video of what happened on the beach here, though, yesterday. This was shot from a balcony above the beach at the Ocean Walk Resort. You can see thousands of people running down the beach and law enforcement from multiple agencies spread out across the sand. Kissy.
Maybe it's time we end spring break. Is that crazy? Do we really need spring break these days? We got screens, right? Give all these kids like an iPad, and maybe maybe that'll be enough.
Dorito was in town with her family and says the chaos also spilled out onto the streets and on A1A.
Twerking, dancing, stopping traffic, cussing people, flipping people off, stopping everyone, screaming. It was insane. Stopping traffic, you couldn't move, you couldn't go.
Hey, you sound like a little party pooper, okay? You can get the fuck out of here. It's spring break, bitch.
Forward, back, nothing.
Daytona Beach police tell me Friday there was a fight at the Joint Bar on Seabreeze where a shot was fired. No one was hurt. An hour later, someone was shot in front of Crunch Fitness. Then on Saturday, there were 2 shootings beachside. One of them happened on Main Street in front of the Cruisin' Cafe. Police say all of the victims are expected to be okay.
Oh,
you can see.
I wonder if Moist Critical was involved. My understanding is he has a pretty big gun.
There is still a heavy law enforcement presence on Daytona Beach today. Police tell me they're still investigating whether the shootings that happened were connected to spring break or other pop-up events here in Daytona Beach. Reporting in Daytona Beach, Demi Johnson, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
In a recent statement on social media, City Commissioner Stacy Cantu said in part, last night our beachside experienced a large unsanctioned spring break gathering that brought massive crowds to the area. As a city commissioner, I was not made aware in advance that such a large gathering might occur, and I look forward to working with our public safety partners to strengthen communication moving forward. Developing now, Southwest 3rd Street in Ocala has officially reopened following a death investigation earlier today.
Okay, well, that was a little fun. I was hoping that there would be more videos of the chaos. I always love like one of those Fox News segments where they just have where they just let all the horny old men that watch their channel ogle bikini-clad teenagers, like in the name of news or whatever. So I was kind of hoping it would be a little bit more like that, but yeah, that's still fun. Let's see. Maybe I'll just head on over to X, the Everything app. We'll just go over to X. We'll see what's going on over there. We'll meme around a little bit and then get out of here. Let's see what we got. Yeah, this is a good one. As the I don't know how to say it. Taoiseach heads to Washington to shake the hand of a warmonger will be in Cuba, where the island is being strangled and starved by the man who will be handed Shamrock kneecap. Yeah, the Irish people who go and shake the hand of Donald Trump, yeah, they should be excommunicated. They should be sent up to Northern Ireland, if you know what I'm saying. Let's see. Mayor Zoran Kwame Mamdani. If you own a home with a basement, attic, or backyard, I have all 3 of those things technically. Chances are you've thought about using it to earn a little extra income or as a space for a loved one. We want to make it as easy and affordable as possible for you to do that. New York City recently legalized ADUs, but for too many New Yorkers, they're still tied up in bureaucracy and expense. We're fixing that. Our new toolkit. Okay, so he's just given more options for people to essentially create ancillary dwelling units, so that I guess friends or family or whatever can live, have a place to stay for a little bit. If I had to guess what that's for. Wait. To everyone disappointed in progressive splitting the vote in Illinois congressional races, I am the only candidate primary in AIPAC back Jared Moskowitz. Yeah, Jared Moskowitz sucks. Get him out of there. And Florida 23rd, and our first poll shows a clear path to victory if we get the word. Yeah, go out and canvass for him and stuff. He seems pretty good, like from what I could tell. I just wish he was a little more charismatic. I saw him on his Hassan interview. Let's see. Oh, that's too loud. Oh, let's see if Zoran can sink a shot. I don't know if I have much faith, but we'll see. Oh, I probably actually shouldn't even play that. Hey, nice. I wonder if that was his first take or not.
Honestly.
So everything that I'm doing, I'm just happy about it, you know. So every day that I'm waking up, I'm just really happy to be with this team. I just love it. It's just a blessing, and I keep like looking forward to doing it the most that I can. But I just love it.
Growing up in this city, to me, it wasn't something that was so distinct to be a Muslim New Yorker. It just was. Thank you so much.
That's pretty good.
I do.
That's pretty good. No,
I gotta go to we got like a Ethiopian place nearby. This is kind of reminding me of that. I wanna go there again.
Muslim, like I said, I know what I'm doing. I know my strength from my religion.
To me, the thing I look forward to the most is being together.
Exactly.
And there's so many Muslims in the city, they don't get to have iftar sitting down.
Right.
Right? They're having it while they're working.
Well, gotta love Kwame, Zoran Kwame. Justice Democrat says, Kat Abu Ghazala just narrowly lost Illinois 9th. This loss takes nothing away from the trailblazing campaign she ran that put the people at the center of every part of the race. This was still a massive loss for AIPAC, who spent over $7 million to come in third place. Exactly. Spin, spin, spin. Everybody's spinning. Spinning like a basketball. I don't know. You just gotta, don't take any of it at face value. All the articles or whatever about AIPAC. Like AIPAC put a lot of articles out saying that they won or whatever, or that they beat all of these people. It's all just spin. Sorry, I do want to read this real quick.
I'm not opposed to voter ID requirements for voting. I'm opposed to stupid voter ID requirements. And the SAVE Act is insane because you know what it does? It's going to say for most people your driver's license doesn't count for you to be able to vote. So how do you prove you're a citizen? Well, hope you have a passport. If you don't have a passport, you got to go try to find your birth certificate.
Yeah, they're just trying to make it as difficult as possible. I kind of disagree with I just think that we shouldn't have I don't know. I am the okay. I guess I'm more radical than most people. I think that anybody who is controlled by our systems and by our government should have a voice in some way in the electoral process. And so I really don't actually have a problem with everybody voting, including illegal immigrants or whatever, or people who are not technically U.S. citizens. However, I do know that I understand that that position is kind of outside the scope of what most people would consider normal. So it just needs to be easy. It all just needs to be very easy. You there if it's not your ID or whatever, for instance, if you don't have an ID, then you should be provided something by the government for free to vote in elections. It is sent you have your government whatever card that is just sent to you that you get to use to then vote. I think it should just be automatic. Everybody should have one, and when you get and you can take it when you go there. It shouldn't be this big rigmarole where you need three forms of ID, your birth certificate, and your mom's maiden name or whatever to go vote. This is just a stupid analysis. But okay. Yeah, Adam Mockler, he said, so this is like this. Okay, Nate Silver says there's plenty of appetite for progressivism, etc., within the Democratic electorate, but the very online version of it doesn't really travel well. And then Adam Mockler says this is the wrong takeaway. Kat's loss was not a referendum on progressive politics in the way people claim. While it is true that many progressives over-index on social media, Kat clearly broke through that noise and ran a genuinely captivating campaign. Um, it's just I think again you're comparing apples and oranges. Kat was like had no name recognition going into it, and she started from nothing, and she's a 25-year-old woman in America. Like that, the fact that she came within 4% is like insane. That is a win. It next time she runs, she'll probably win. Like because something tells me if she runs in this district again, something tells me Daniel Biss isn't gonna, isn't gonna be the most pro working class representative that there is there. So there'll probably be some disappointment. Let's see what else we got. Uh-oh. Some more parents are fighting moments. Cenk Uygur takes shots at Franny Fio, carefully avoiding her name. Francesca Fiorentini, of course, saying she doesn't care about Muslim lives or the war. This is one of Cenk's strawliest of straw men. Yeah. And then Francesca fired back with, "Brother Cenk Uygur, this was me in 2003 protesting the Iraq War. Weren't you a Republican doing celebrity upskirt commentary?" It sounds about right. I'd believe it. If I don't know for sure, but I'd believe it. Cenk Uygur seems like that just the vibes are right for that. You know what you said? You laughed in my face about there being gulags and then claimed I was using vulnerable people as a human shield. Take the L. Yeah. Um, I like Francesca a lot. And clearly, like, she has that dog in her. Like, being there in 2003, that's, you know, something a lot of people can't say. Yeah.
CBS now, run by Barry Weiss, who is a self-described fanatical Zionist, owned by the Ellison family, who, again, publicly are the biggest donors to the Friends of the IDF. They haven't hidden their politics. They're very clear about what they believe. They now own one of the storied news networks in America. And it's very clear since the Iran war started and while the Gaza genocide is ongoing, what they're doing in terms of their coverage. Just recently, they had a panel of people. And Douglas Murray.
Yeah, I was going to say your friend Douglas Murray.
My old friend Douglas Murray. And Douglas Murray is a man who said that if you don't go to a country, you shouldn't comment on it. This is what he said to Dave Smith on the Joe Rogan show. I'm not aware of when Douglas Murray went to Iran, but he was there as an Iran expert. When you see stuff like that, I know it's a rival network. I don't want to get into fight with other networks, but just in general, how do you feel about people coming on who, when you look at them and you say they're not experts?
Well, it's funny because I mean, like,
especially when it's your area.
I lived in Gaza, right? So I mean, I could speak with a certain degree of confidence about the situation in Gaza, but it pains me to see that, right? Because I don't think you should subscribe to it one way or the other. Meaning, like, you shouldn't be so black and white. Say, like, if you haven't been there, you shouldn't cover it, right? Like, I haven't been to Iran. Doesn't mean that I can't speak about Iran. I've interviewed Iranian officials. I have covered the result of Iran's proxies in the region. Yes, I've informed myself. I've spent years covering Iranian proxies.
I mean, hey, I talk about countries I've never been to all the time, so I agree.
In Syria, in Lebanon,
I don't know
Gaza,
nothing about
them. I am very familiar with the dynamics of it, but I've never actually put foot in Iran. And Douglas Murray and others will try to pretend that they've gone to Gaza on a Israeli embed. And again, I don't mind that you go on the embed. I just mind that you then try to pretend that because you went on this embed.
Okay. Whoops. Yeah. Don't forget about Cuba. Okay. Is Jeremy Corbyn? Oh, okay. Jeremy Corbyn is going on the mission to the flotilla or whatever to Cuba. So that's cool of him. I've been a little bit disappointed with Jeremy Corbyn. Not like he is like an icon, I guess, of like British left politics or whatever. But the whole Your Party fiasco really left a sour taste in my mouth. I don't know. I feel like it could have been so much more. At least now the Green Party or whatever it is, has been, taking on, I feel like that truly like left populist role that that they could have built with the Your Party thing. But yeah. I don't know. I don't know what this is. Israel, they always think that if just one more leader, if we just kill one more leader, if one more leader and then the Iranian government will topple, or one more leader and then Hamas will be donezo forever, or one more leader and then Hezbollah will be gone for good. It's literally never worked. I don't think it's worked a single time in like the history that Israel has been doing this. Like I can't think of a single time that this has ever worked. I'm sure this time it will. Sure. Boy, boy. I didn't know he played guitar. That's pretty fun. I like it. Yeah, I think that that thing is going pretty soon. The Cuba flotilla or whatever. It keeps going, I guess. The Netanyahu saga continues. Is he alive? Is he dead? Who's to say? Who's to say, right? I tell people all the time, I'm not above having a little fun at the expense of people I dislike. So I like to sometimes I like to pretend sometimes, you know. I like to live in make-believe world. And my ideal make-believe world, this man is burning in a lake of fire like for like eons till the last black hole slowly evaporates from this universe. He's burning in a lake of fire, and so that's what I'm hoping is happening right now, even though I do think he's still alive. But let's see this video.
I have to tell you, I'm alive, but I have this card. Oh.
I think they're talking about the ears. To me, that just looks like weird shadows. And he does have weird looking ears, but that's always been the case.
Yeah, don't read it. So it's a punch card. Mm-hmm. Today I raised 2 names.
Yeah, he's always had like Dumbo ears, so.
More to go on this batch.
You know what the good news is? My name is not on the punch card.
Your name is on the list of the good guys.
His voice, man. Every time I hear it, just sounds like a garbled demon voice. It sounds like Satan. Like.
U.S. forces are doing is incredible. We're very proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with them and getting rid of these lunatics.
Doesn't it? Like, I mean, I feel like you gotta agree with me. If Satan had a voice, this is exactly what it would sound like.
After wiping out Israel, they ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, I don't know. He's dead for sure. I take it all back. I believe it now. That one got me. I'm looking for some fun. Let's see what this one is. I love a good Hassan clip.
The bottom line is their economy doesn't work. It's a non-functional economy.
Yeah, it doesn't work because of our...
I assume they're talking about Cuba.
Or fucking endless repression against the Cuban people. For the record, the only setback against Cuban Americans being able to make investments into the Cuban island is not the Cuban government, it's the American government. This is a lie. Before you rush to invest in Cuba, it's good to know what U.S. law actually allows. The Cuban Assets Control Regulations, CACR 31 CFR Part.
Okay, this isn't fun. I was hoping for a fun one. I need a fun one to end on. Ooh, okay. This is a fun one. Let's all have some fun. This is activists in Mexico City smashed a wax statue of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, destroying its face with hammers. Let's watch it. Let's do it full screen. Or no, not full screen. How do I wish I could like zoom in more. 1 second. There we go. Okay, let's all watch this. Can I slow-mo it? Maybe not. One day. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. More of this. Next time, if he's still alive out there, if anyone sees him, just if you accidentally mistake him for a wax figure or whatever. What if that was him? You know how he fled Israel as soon as the shit started happening? What if he was in here pretending to be a wax statue and this guy just comes up, starts beating the shit out of him, and he's like, ah, that would be so funny. Okay, that's good. That's good. I had to end on something that made me laugh, and I think that it wasn't necessarily the video that made me laugh. It was myself. I made me laugh, and that's the best kind of laugh, is the laugh that I make myself do. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for watching. This is fun stream. You know, I think it went pretty well. Be safe out there. Have a good time. Find little things in your life that give you joy during this sad, sad period that we live through. And I'll see you next time. I'm technically Clay, and the stream is technically over. Bye-bye.